Pokemon just had their sneak peek for Wind and Waves and the 30th anniversary on Friday. How's it going, y'all? I'm Noah Pokeplane, and today we're going to be talking about just that. Kind of talking about my thoughts, what my opinions for Wind and Waves, the starters, how it all looks, and just some of the generic information like that came out. So we're going to be using PokeBeach right here in order to kind of talk about the information. PokeBeach is shout out to them. They're a really great website that gives and details a bunch of Pokemon news, oftentimes kind of before it's reported anywhere else. For this, a lot of their reports are just gathered from the Pokemon Day video that came out in the trailer for Wind and Wave. So go ahead and check those videos out, and definitely check out PokeBeach for some more kind of detailed information. So first thing we're going to be talking about is Pokemon Wind and Waves. So Pokemon Wind and Waves is set to release worldwide in 2027, which honestly is a little bit of a disappointment. Myself, along with I think most of the Pokemon community, were anticipating Pokemon Wind and Waves to come out around November of 2026, because the new game in the Pokemon generations have typically come out around the October, November, December timeframe. So a little disappointing that it's not coming out in 2026. Hopefully, when it comes out in 2027, it's earlier in 2027 and not towards the later end of it. Because honestly, if it comes out in the latter part of 2027, like October, November, December, I'm honestly, I'm going to be chomping at the bits. Like looking at the sneak peeks, looking at the starters, I really want to play the game, and so hopefully we get it relatively early into 2027. Otherwise, it's gonna suck for a little bit. But yeah, looking at some of these pictures right here, I'm not gonna talk about them too much. And I know during the trailer for it, it gave the warning saying, "Hey, a lot of this isn't depictions of actual gameplay or stuff like that." But we did see some scenes from actual gameplay in Pokemon Wind and Waves, best as I can tell. And honestly, they look pretty cool. So, the Pokemon look really cool as they show up and kind of move around the environment in the video. I like how they're starting to pay more attention to some of the details. Sometimes for the games, they don't have like a whole lot of texture and stuff loaded, such as, cool, it's just green grounded annotate grass and little tufts everywhere. Here, it looks like they included a lot more detail in terms of, cool, we're going to incorporate a lot more grass and just kind of general features and stuff like that. That was also kind of pretty apparent if we go down to, where is it? Oh, kind of right here. It's kind of hard to see, and it's not the best picture. There are definitely some better kind of close-ups, but in like the water environments and stuff like that, you could also see the rocks, and you can see they actually have a lot of texture and stuff like that. They actually look pretty realistic and defined, and compared to some previous games where it was like, kind of monotone, or just like, there was a little bit of detail, but not very much. You could kind of see like a repeating pattern. So that's really cool. And then now here we're at the starter Pokemon, which is what I was really looking forward to when it concerns information about Pokemon Wind and Waves. We have Brout, the grass kind of bird Pokemon. We've got Pombon, the fire kind of dog Pokemon. And then we also have Gekua, the water gecko Pokemon. And they all look pretty cool. So for me personally, I wasn't much of a fan of Brout initially. Just kind of looked a little bit weird, and I don't know what it was, but it definitely wasn't something that I was necessarily gravitating towards initially. But after rewatching the trailer a couple of times, looking at the video and stuff like that, I gotta say I'm definitely liking Brock more and more, and definitely falling in love with him, which is pretty cool. Because for me personally, I have almost exclusively chosen the grass starter Pokemon anytime I play any of the Pokemon games. Like up until Scarlet and Violet, for example, there was only one time in one generation that I did not choose the grass starter, and that was Generation 2, Cyndaquil. Typhlosion's my man. Such a kick-ass Pokemon. Sorry for the language, but absolutely love Typhlosion. Love the whole Fire Evolution line. Really, really cool. And that was kind of the one exception to me choosing a grass starter up until Scarlet and Violet. Now, in Scarlet and Violet, Sprigatito, it looked cool, but Coco just absolutely fell in love with the way the Pokemon looked, the design of that Pokemon, and absolutely fell in love with Coco's evolution lines as well. And so that was the second exception to me choosing a grass starter for the Pokemon generations. Looking at this Pokemon right here, like Sprout, I'm definitely leaning more towards choosing. Pombon, leaning a little bit less towards choosing. But Gekua is really, really interesting. Like, I don't know, this might be, Gekua might have a running for being the very first water Pokemon that I ever start off with, just because the design looks really cool. The short little gameplay moments for it in the trailer look really cool. So I'm curious to see kind of what the evolutionary line looks like for all three of these Pokemon. I think that's probably going to be one of the big determining factors for which Pokemon I choose. But yeah, I never thought I'd say it, but I might actually choose a water starter Pokemon this time. And also just kind of looking at these Pokemon, you can kind of tell or get an idea as to what their final evolutionary line might be like. Like Brow right here, it's probably going to have something to do with, like, its brow or something like that for its final evolutionary line. Pombon, it's probably going to have something to do with the mane, but also, yeah, I could see the mane translating over to the third evolution of it, but I don't really know kind of whether details could come out from that. And then Gekua, you could definitely see some sort of like water gecko, salamander, some sort of deal like that, definitely being incorporated into its third evolutionary form. So super excited for whenever that comes out to see how our start is going to look like. And then they also, I didn't recognize this in the trailer, so I don't know how Pokebeach found this information. I'm sure Pokemon reported about it somewhere. But I guess the two Pikachus actually have names, Mr. Windy Chew and Miss Wavy Chew, which is kind of cool actually. They got the names that are related to the two games for Generation 10. So that's super, super exciting. And then the final thing is that it looks like we got sneak peeks of, like, their outfits or stuff like that. Again, really, really cool. If you want to watch the full trailer, it's on YouTube. It's also here on PokeBeach. I definitely recommend you check it out. And then when it concerns the 30th anniversary set, they did reveal a picture for some cards like here. It looks like what they're doing again is they are going to be taking pictures from past generations and stuff like that, and probably just putting the 30th anniversary stamp on it and make that the 30th anniversary set, which honestly is pretty cool. So for people like me who were into the Pokemon TCG like very early on in its life cycle and then just kind of fell out of it until recently, like I didn't get back into it until summer of 2025. But for people in like my situation, a bunch of other people, it's really cool that they're doing this for the 30th anniversary. It kind of gives all of us the a little bit of skin in the game, in the sense that cool, we actually get to experience and enjoy some of these older, cooler kind of like chase cards and just really pretty cards that were in past generations that we never got a chance to get because we weren't in the hobby at the time, and we can't get it right now because they're super, super expensive. It gives us an opportunity to actually pull those cards and enjoy them, which is really awesome. And then the big thing I saw with this as well is that it looks like the 30th anniversary is going to have a global release schedule, which is pretty cool. That means it's not going to be the case that it is for pretty much every other Pokemon set, where it's like, cool, it comes out in Japan first, then a couple months later it comes out in the American and the UK market. No, it looks like it's going to be a global release for everyone at the time, which I don't believe generations. I don't believe the 20th anniversary did that, but actually I think PokeBeach says something about it. Yeah, right here. So for the 20th anniversary, they kind of did it, but not really. So they didn't do a global release, but they had the Japan's 20th anniversary come out in October, and then they had the celebration, so the American and the UK one, come out at a later time in October. So pretty closely aligned, but still not the exact same time for global release. So this might actually be the first time that there's a global release for a Pokemon set, which is super, super exciting as well. That means everyone in the world is going to be able to kind of enjoy the cards for the very first time without getting too many spoilers or seeing like trend data and stuff like that. But yeah, the last thing I kind of want to talk about is the McDonald's promotion for Happy Meals and promo cards that they were having with Pokemon for Pokemon Day. So I was lucky enough during Pokemon Day to be able to get like a 30-minute break in order to go grab some lunch. So I went to McDonald's, super excited, got in line, went to order the Happy Meal, and I was like, "Huh, that's weird." They didn't really have the pictures showing the Pokemon promo and stuff like that at McDonald's because they typically do that during at the drive-through. So went ahead, got it, opened it up, and it wasn't the Pokemon promo. It was a different promo. I don't know what it was. There was like a little box with like a toy or something inside the Happy Meal, but it wasn't Pokemon, which surprised me because I know the initial reports said that, hey, this is supposed to be coming out during Pokemon Day. I don't know if that came from a verifiable source. Obviously, it didn't, or if it was just kind of rumor mill that was happening online. So that was a little disappointing, but I did a little bit of research, and it looks like the Pokemon promo at McDonald's is going to be happening on March 10th. So I'm hoping I'll be able to get some time to go out and get lunch and grab that myself. I believe that's a Tuesday. Yeah, March 10th is a Tuesday, so it's not a Friday. It's going to be a little bit different, and if that's something you're definitely looking at getting, I definitely recommend you try to be there right when their lunchtime opens up. I believe it's like 10:30. At least in my area, it's 10:30. But yeah, I definitely recommend getting there early if that is something you want to open and enjoy. Just because the hype is very, very high. So I'm anticipating that uh, location dependent, but probably within a couple hours, McDonald's might actually run out of all their product and supply for it, and then you won't be able to get it anymore. I know the last time there was a McDonald's promo. I believe it was just in Japan. I saw that there was, well, everyone saw it. There's a really big issue with it. Like a bunch of people are ordering a whole bunch of Happy Meals, like more so than just for them to eat, just like large quantities, and then they were throwing the food away. They weren't even eating any of it just in order to get the Pokemon cards, which caused a problem. And if I remember correctly, I want to say that delayed or stopped that Pokemon promo happening at McDonald's. I don't know if it prevented it from happening at McDonald's in the U.S. or if that was just a Japan exclusive McDonald's promo and they stopped doing it in Japan. But regardless, it was a big problem, and I'm really glad that it wasn't a problem enough that Pokemon just stopped doing these McDonald's promos. Either that, or maybe they found some better rules or a better way to go about it in order to kind of prevent such a big issue like food waste from happening with that. But yeah, if you want to get some of those Pokemon promos and the Pokemon Happy Meal from McDonald's, definitely make sure that you are there early during the lunchtime on March 10th. As of right now, as far as I can tell from people reporting online, that seems to be the date that McDonald's is doing starting the Pokemon promotion. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. Just kind of want to talk to y'all about my thoughts, my reaction to seeing the news from Pokemon Day, both for Wind and Waves, the 30th anniversary, and I just want to talk about a little bit of my experience with the McDonald's promo for Pokemon. Yeah, if you liked the video, please give it a like, subscribe, please leave a comment down below. If you're interested in checking out my stores, I have a TCG Player Pro seller website called Hakoki TCG, where I sell singles. I'm actually looking at probably changing the name for that to Pokeplane to line up with the brand I'm trying to build right now, just in order to help kind of clear up any confusion. And then as well, I also, if you check out the link down below, I have a link to my website where I sell sealed Pokemon product for under the market value. So definitely check that out if you don't mind, and I'd really appreciate it. But anyway, as always, I'm Noah with Pokeplane. Thank y'all for tuning in, and I hope to catch all of y'all next time. See ya!